What's up? My name is Jackson. I've never watched soccer before, but I'm watching every single game in the World Cup. And today was the first day of the final match day. And we had six great matches today. Switzerland versus Canada, Bosnia and Herzegovina versus Qatar, Morocco and Haiti, Scotland versus Brazil, South Africa versus South Korea, and Czechia versus Mexico. And we're only about halfway through the Group A games, so I'll only talk about the first half, but I will talk about all the other games all the way through. And normally I am joined by a co-host who has some more expertise than I do, but it'll just be me rambling today because I have no co-host today. So let's jump right into it. First game of the day, in my head at least, the game I cared more about in Group B was Switzerland versus Canada. And going into the game, I had predicted Canada was going to win, and Canada did in fact lose 2-1. It was hard because I felt like Canada stayed fired up for the vast majority of the game, but there were just some moments where they weren't at full power necessarily, and so it led to them never really getting enough momentum towards the goal often enough to break down that Swiss defense and score multiple goals. Switzerland, as soon as we got back from halftime, scored a goal in the first minute, and it caught Canada unawares. And I feel like this is the second or third game I've seen now where this something like this has happened, and these teams, some of them need to just not, let their guard down like that. I certainly, wouldn't. I'm just kidding, of course. They're obviously way better than me at soccer. I've never even watched soccer before, but I would just think that if this happens, if this is a thing that happens often, you got to be ready for it. And maybe there's nothing you can do against it, but Canada would have tied if that first goal in that second half hadn't been scored. So I was rooting for Canada to come in and win, but they didn't. They did not win, in fact, and Switzerland won instead. So congratulations to Switzerland for winning Group B, but but Canada got second place, and that's all that matters. I did hear that Canada is, gonna go to United States now to play their game in the knockout rounds, and we'll see if they can make it past their first opponent or not. Either way, I think that Canadian crowd has been one of the best crowds of the World Cup. They really clearly love Canada, and it was hard to watch them be so sad because they were fired up the start of the game. They were fired up when it was time for Canada to make an attempt. In the last 6 minutes, Canada tried time and time again, and they just couldn't get it in. And you hate to see things like that. But Switzerland did a great job, and so congratulations to Switzerland. And the other game in Group B, it was Bosnia and Herzegovina versus Qatar. And I actually had Qatar winning this 3-0, and it came out almost exactly opposite. Bosnia and Herzegovina won 3-1. So, and they just looked like the much better team. Qatar did not really have any energy. I felt like they were just doing whatever they kind of wanted, and that was not good enough. It took two goals in the first half for Qatar to wake up because back to back Bosnia hit some goals. Like literally back to back. They were playing the replay of the first goal, and 2 seconds later, the second goal went in, and that inspired Qatar to make another goal. But that was the only goal that they made the whole game. And Bosnia and Herzegovina scored their third goal, and then Qatar basically gave up, and it was over. And so Bosnia and Herzegovina has won, and they're probably going to face the U.S., I think. And I think we'll see what happens. But they lost to Switzerland rather handily, and so I feel as though the U.S. may be able to beat them when they face them, if they face them, because it is still an if as far as we know. So yeah, I mean that being said, Bosnia and Herzegovina was fun. It was very energetic for a little bit, and seeing Bosnia play like that was great. And we actually have a little bit of correspondence from Bosnia that I'll play right now. Wow, that looked like so much fun. So good on you guys being in Bosnia. Have a great time over there. Um, We'll move on to Group C. Morocco versus Haiti. Uh, Haiti was already eliminated, but they played their hearts out, especially in the first half. It was 2-2, and for a while I might be wrong, but it was 0-2, Haiti, and then Morocco started coming back because Morocco started to realize, hey, if we don't play a little bit harder, we might lose to Haiti, which would be bad for Morocco, obviously. But they didn't. They came back. They won 4-2. Uh, but those first 20 minutes, 30 minutes, Morocco was not playing very well. They were losing. And then it became very back and forth. Haiti tried a lot, and they had a lot of energy the whole way through, and they went down swinging, and that was great. That was beautiful. I enjoyed that a lot. Not much more to say, but congratulations, Morocco, for making it through to the knockout rounds in second place. That's very great. Um, and then moving on to Scotland versus Brazil, I was rooting for Scotland, but I thought Brazil would probably win, and Brazil did win, and it was 3-0, and it maybe should have been 4-0. They had a goal that was disallowed in the first half, and I didn't see that same fight that I saw in Scotland when they were facing Morocco. I saw, especially in the last 30 minutes, I saw a bit of a less confident Scotland, a Scotland that couldn't afford to lose more points, but they did, and you hated to see that, but it's what happened. And as an American, I'm very hyped about the Scottish right now. They get a lot of good publicity, so I was sad to see them not win. It's possible because they did actually win a game in the World Cup against Haiti that they do still move on to the knockout rounds, but they also have that negative 3 point differential now, so we'll see. I mean, I hope they make it through, because I really want to see Scotland play well, and I feel like they have so much in them, but they just didn't give it today. Here's another thing. I didn't realize that Neymar was on Brazil. I don't really know who Neymar is, but I do recognize his name, and so therefore I know he must be good. I've seen his jersey. So that's scary. Um, and so yeah, congratulations to Brazil though for winning Group C. That's exciting, and they're definitely going on to the knockouts. Moving on to Group A, Mexico actually just scored a goal, which is exciting. I've been kind of waiting for Mexico to score. It's been a little bit back and forth between Czechia and Mexico, but Mexico did just finally score. We'll see if that result holds. Mexico has obviously won their division, their group already, and so that's great for Mexico. But you don't want to go into the knockouts with a loss. I bet I've never seen soccer before. I don't claim to be an expert, but I can only imagine that if you lose a game against a team that is much lower in your group than you are, has performed much more poorly, and then you lose right before the knockouts, that can't be good for your mental state, can't be good for your momentum. So, hopefully for Mexico's sake, they are able to win. My prediction was that Mexico would win, but we'll have to wait and see. Obviously it matters a lot to Czechia how they do because they're going to be third place. I think mathematically they must be third place regardless of how South Africa does. And if they don't do well, Czechia, then they're going to be eliminated. So, we'll see if Czechia can get any score, but I don't have faith necessarily. On the other side, South Africa and South Korea. South Korea I expected to play a lot better, and South Africa in the first half has just kind of been handing it to them. South Korea's goalie has made a lot of good saves, and that's terrific. But South Africa is playing the best that they've been playing. So we'll see if South Korea can stay on top like that. But right now the score is still 0-0. So I don't know. So overall, a pretty good day of games. One thing I will say is I kind of like watching two games at the same time. Yeah, there's never a break in the action that way, and time actually passes a lot quicker. I also like seeing the groups finish up at the same time. I was grumpy about the games playing at the same time, and I still think that there's some validity in my grumpiness about that. But in general, I have had an enjoyable experience today watching two games at the same time. So it's been a good day of games. We have a little bit more that I'll be still tuned into. But yeah, it was fun. I'll be back here tomorrow morning with my predictions for groups E, F, and D. Of course, the U.S. playing tomorrow. So I will see you guys then. Bye bye.